The Sharks win in the preseason, but the Sharks win 5-2 over the Vegas Golden Knights. We're going to talk about Henry Thrun and if he's started to make enough noise to start the season in the NHL, and what other big takeaways we have from the first preseason game, and we have some clarity in the lines. So all that and more on today's episode of Locked On Sharks.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello. Welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, contributor at Inside the Rink, and I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Proudly a part of the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day. If you want to be an everyday, all you got to do is just follow along wherever you get podcasts, or you can subscribe on YouTube as well, or do both. Both is better. And today, we're going to be discussing some actual real Sharks hockey, asterisks and real, but the Sharks, they played a preseason game. They won a preseason game, beating the Vegas Golden Knights. So we're going to talk about the biggest takeaways, dive into some of the analytics from the game, and then, of course, try to see if we have some clarity, at least in the lines, early into training camp. It's a great day today. My Oregon Ducks won on Saturday. Dolphins put up 70. And then, even though it's preseason, actually it's perfect that it's preseason, beating the Vegas Golden Knights, but you're not affecting your standings. What a day. What a weekend for me. Just high quality sports weekend for me. But let's start with one Henry Thrun, who 2 goals and an assist tonight. And we saw it at the end of the season last year. Looks like an NHL player, and he's going to be pushing hard to make the NHL roster this training camp. Especially, we know, of course, the numbers game that is the blue line for the Sharks, right? Between Ferraro and Vlasic and Burrows and Thrun, and Ferraro, everybody who's in there, right? Shimmick, McDonald, like name some names, right? We know all the guys who are, you have 10 guys who could kind of put a claim to being on the roster. But I thought Henry Thrun, you just see it, right? There's just the way he plays, there's just something that you see about him. And again, we know that the Sharks power play is up in the air. We heard that from Quinn himself. We might be getting the chaos approach of just 5 forwards at some point this year, maybe even early in the year, while the Sharks try to kind of figure things out there. But Thrun looks like I would not be surprised if by the end of the year Henry Thrun is the quarterback of the power play one, because I just think he's their best option right now. And I think he can, not only is he their best option, I think he can do it, but he could just be the Sharks' next good two-way defenseman. And, looking at, I've been writing the previews about all the season previews about all the defensemen, and a lot of them it's defensive defenseman. But I think Henry Thrun can be a legitimate two-way defenseman for the Sharks for years to come. So, again, we are very early in the training camp process, right? The first actual game isn't until October 12th. We have a couple weeks until then, but I think Henry Thrun started out with a good showing for himself tonight, especially playing with Jan Ruda. I think, and overall, you have to be happy with how the Sharks defense looked tonight, right? Kyle Burrows had a goal. Great play by Barabanov to kind of set that up. We'll talk about Barabanov here in a little bit, but great play by Barabanov to kind of set that up. I thought, again, Rock looked good out there. Jan Ruda, like, I think overall the defense looked pretty good for the most part. You did see a little bit of what I worry about with them. And again, this wasn't Vegas's A team or B team. This was very much a Vegas C squad that they threw out there. The Sharks definitely had way more NHL caliber players on the ice tonight. But the one of the worries with the Sharks is them just getting trapped in their own zone and not able to kind of transition the puck out. And Vegas, I know it's, again, even if it is their C squad, putting, there was plenty of times where Vegas just kind of kept the puck in their zone and the Sharks just weren't able to get it out. Or if they get it out, it's basically just get it to center ice and live to fight another day. And that works fine when you're playing Vegas is like, a bunch of dudes. But when we get to the actual NHL and you have, the regular season and you have Mark Stone and Eichel and, everybody else that Vegas has, like, that's just not going to fly. You're not going to be able to just hang out in your zone for so long. So, but let's again, stick to some of the positives tonight. So, I thought some of the forward lines looked good. Actually, the power play. I thought the power play looked good. Now that's going to be one of the big things I'm looking for this season, is how the power play kind of evolves without Erik Karlsson and Timo Meier. And again, David Quinn knows how to coach up a power play, right? If you go back and look at the jump that the Rangers team made from year 1 to year 2 with David Quinn at the helm, they went from, one of the worst power play units to one of, I think they were top 10. I think they were 7th, if I can recall correctly, that season. And I don't expect the Sharks to make a jump from what they did last year to top 10. But if this power play, they have plenty of guys who can contribute offensively, especially in the forward department. I want to see the power play go from bottom of the barrel to like mediocre, right? Being if you're in like the teens, I think that's big improvement, especially with the loss of top end talent, but the increase of depth and actually be able to run out 2 power play units this year instead of, the traveling band that was the second power play unit for the Sharks last year. We're going to see much more balance between the 2 power play units. But overall, I thought the power play, very good puck movement between the players. Mike Hoffman has some pretty primo chances there in the circle. Again, Henry Thrun, I thought his fake, I know it was right as the power play expired, the hurdle goal, but that little fake, the setup hurdle, like that is big time right there. That's crafty veteran moves, right? You would think a young guy just get the puck to, right? That's what they hear. Get the puck to the net, get the puck to the net. Crafty veteran move there to get it to Tomas, make that one more play to get it to Tomas Hertl, who was able to score. But overall, I really like the power play, the movement on the power play. Again, grain of salt with what Vegas had out there. But you can see, like, okay, like there's going to be, I think the power play has a chance to at least be interesting this year as it evolves without Erik Karlsson. So overall, you have to be feeling pretty good from what we saw from the Sharks tonight. Even Kaapo Kahkonen, I think the defense did a pretty solid job of kind of limiting. We'll dig into the numbers here in a little bit, but I think the defense did a pretty solid job of kind of keeping the high danger chances down on Kaapo Kahkonen and kind of making his life pretty easy. And, the one goal defense, one of the forwards got lost there on the Barbashev goal, and the other one would kind of bounced off somebody weird. So I thought Kaapo Kahkonen looked pretty solid again. Biggest grain of salt ever, but better than getting blown out like 7-0 or losing 70-20. So got to feel pretty good. At least we know we're not getting a lot of wins. Let's enjoy the little victories we have tonight. So before we get into kind of some of the analytics from the game, what do the numbers tell us, as we always do with segment number 2? Do want to take a quick break, talk to you guys about our new friends over at Jase Medical. And if you want to be prepared, because you never know what happened, something's going to happen, right? An earthquake. Apparently, we have to worry about hurricanes here in California now. Fire season's here. Like things can happen all the time. That's where Jay's case comes in, because they want to make sure everyone's empowered to care for themselves and their loved ones during the unexpected. Jase Medical offers the Jase case. The Jase case provides 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use and gives you a peace of mind so that you're not sure. So that way, in case you don't have medicine, your medicine is there in case of emergency. Jase Medical makes sure that you have medication in hand, and they make it simple for you. They handle everything from the online evaluation to licensed pharmacy, medication delivery, and ongoing consultation and care. Don't get caught unprepared. Get $20 off any life-saving antibiotics today from Jase Medical by using the code LOCKEDON at checkout on jasemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com. All right, so what do the numbers tell us about this game tonight? So, first, before we do it, let's look at the lines. So we'll start with Vegas. Again, not the this gauntlet of dudes. Couple, fair amount of some NHL guys, but the Sharks definitely had way more NHL guys tonight. So they had Cotter, Howden, Comtois, Barbashev, Fracy, Derifov, sorry guys, Benson, Queenie, Brisson, Gearston, Demick, Cracknell, and then on the blue line, McNabb, Theodore, Bishop, Mayo. This sounds like a high school. Anyway, Shaka, Sidoff, and then Patera in net, right? Again, not the murderers row from that we're used to from Vegas. Sharks, I would say, definitely had. I mean, the Sharks had 5, 6 potential opening night roster guys on their forward lines, and then and they started one of their NHL goalies tonight. So for the Sharks, you had Hoffman, Hurdle, Zadina, Barabanov, Bordelot, Duclair, Daniel Gushin, Tristan Robbins, Nathan Todd, Giovanni Smith, Cole Castles, and Ozzy Weisblatt. And then on the blue line, Henry Thrun, Jan Ruda, Nikita Hohochuk, getting there, Gannon LaRock, Jake Furlong, and Kyle Burrows. And then the goaltenders were Kaapo Kahkonen, who played the whole game, with Magnus Corona backing him up. So what did the numbers tell us? This game, 5-on-5, Vegas still kind of did a lot of work here. They had almost 60% of the shot attempts in the Corsi 4. So again, that's shot attempts. Actual shots on goal, all situations was 34-21. I know they were playing catch up in the back end, kind of in the second half of the game, but 5-on-5, it was 22-16 there. Scoring chances for at 5-on-5, 24-17 in favor of the Golden Knights. And then high danger chances were 12-7. Again, I know kind of the Sharks kind of took their foot off the gas in the second half of this game. But expected goals for 2.48 to the Sharks 1.6. So at 5-on-5, the Sharks scored 4 of their 5 goals at 5-on-5 as well. Yeah, I mean, the Sharks power play, like I said, I thought they looked really pretty solid tonight. They had a bunch of chances, especially in the first period. They did put up 5 scoring chances in the first period when it came onto the power play. And then Vegas got some more chances at the end of the game with their power play time. The Sharks did have a lot of power play time in the first. They had almost 6 minutes of power play time in the first period. So would like to see them do a little bit more with it. But again, I thought the power play did look pretty good overall. Vegas, though, they did take their fair amount of shots up front, and that's where they scored their 2 goals. The Sharks were kind of a little bit more scattered, right? You had the Henry Thrun goal, they were kind of a little bit more outside with their goals. So the forward lines for the Sharks. So again, Hoffman, Hurdle, Zadina played the most, of course. Their Corsi 4 was 50%. So they had 6 shot attempts, gave up 6. Goals for 2-1. Actual shots on goal were 5-6. Expected goals for is 2.1 0.21 to 0.58. So they did give up a few scoring chances there. And again, the Sharks don't have a lot of defensive forwards on their teams, which is fine. So that is just something you're going to have to kind of keep an eye on with how many kind of scoring chances that they give up, especially with also their inability to kind of cleanly transition the puck out of the zone. So, and that line had 8 neutral zone faceoffs, 1 offensive zone faceoff, and 2 defensive zone faceoffs. So, Gushin, Robbins, Nathan Todd, who I think will probably be more of a center for the Barracuda, but was playing on the wing with the kids tonight. 3 shot attempts for, 6 allowed. Actual shots was 2-1 in favor of that line. Expected goals 4.04 to 0.17. 1 scoring chance, gave up 3, and then mostly neutral/defensive zone starts for that third line. So Gushin, I thought, kind of did a lot of his damage on the power play. You saw he had some pretty good opportunities and actually did have a really nice pass to Nathan Todd, who wasn't expecting it. I think if Todd was kind of expecting it, he probably would have had a really good shot at a goal there. But Tristan Robbins was okay tonight. I had nothing kind of too noticeable about him. So I think just spend the year with the CUDA, another kind of keep working. So the Weisbach, Cole, Castles, Giovanni Smith, but 606 together, 3 shot attempts for, gave up 6. Actual shots was 2 to 3. Kind of the same thing. 0.13 goals, 4.41 expected goals allowed. 2 to 3 scoring chances, and 3 offensive zone faceoffs, 1 neutral zone, 1 defensive, which is a little interesting because that fourth line you wouldn't expect would get so many offensive zone faceoffs, but just very interesting there. And then I think the line that a lot of us want to kind of discuss is the Barabanov, Bordeleau, Anthony Duclair line. 555 Taiva on ice, 6 shot attempts, 4 to give up 4. Actual shots was 4 to 2. Did have a goal as well. And expected goals 4.49 to 0.14. Scoring chances 5 to 2. And that's with 1-2-1 for their zone starts. So pretty solid, I think. And I think Bordeleau was a little quiet. But again, that's why you play him with Barabanov and Duclair, who are good NHL players. And again, we know Bordeleau, like, he's not gonna like the score sheet every night, but playing, he put that line in good positions. Barabanov was awesome tonight, and I think we're gonna have a major discussion about keeping or trading Barabanov this season. That's gonna be an ongoing thing with him, and don't want to dive into that tonight. But there's gonna be something very, very interesting to kind of keep an eye on with Barabanov, and he just might be just legitimately too good to trade, which sounds weird for kind of a guy who nobody heard of 3 years ago. But Barabanov, man, he's really good. So Kaapo Kahkonen is nice. So 34 shots again, 32 saves, gave up 2. Expected goals against 3.54. This is all situations. High danger shots against, faced 11, had 9 saves, gave up 2. 16 mid shots against, 16 saves, 4 low danger, 4 saves. So Sharks did a pretty good job of kind of trying to keep it in the middle. You would like that low danger. Yeah, you'd like that low danger number to be a little bit higher, kind of continue to push those shots out. But overall, I think Kaapo Kahkonen, you got to feel pretty solid, especially with the amount, the volume of shots he saw tonight. And that's probably going to be a running theme for the Sharks all season, is just the amount of shots that they're going to give up. So before we continue, we're going to kind of talk some clarity on the lines, especially the forward lines, what we've seen from the practice reports. Before we get into all that, do want to take a quick break, talk to you guys about our friends over at FanDuel. And right now, if you want to snap into the NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is the perfect time, because right now new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. So if you think about joining FanDuel, now is the time, because no better time to get in on the action. The app is easy to use, wide range of betting outcomes options, including spreads, player props. So like Christian McCaffrey, I keep telling you guys to bet on Christian McCaffrey to score TD. And what does he do? He does it 12 straight games. And I don't see that stopping anytime soon. Over unders, maybe you decided to bet on the over for the for the Dolphins. You're probably feeling pretty good about it today. Or I told you last week, take the Dolphins at -6.5 or -7, and they won by 50. So if you want to get in, now's the time. Go to FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. All right. Some clarity in the lines. So again, we have no Couture. We talked about it on Friday's episode where every athlete in every sport ever says they want to try to be back by the beginning of the season. And we'll see with Couture, right? If he's getting on the ice and practicing, maybe a week or so out, then you can realistically see it. So, but for now, I'm going to assume he's not, just because I'm pessimistic about injuries, and you want to protect Couture, right? It's better to have Couture for the long run than to have Couture try to hurry back. So anyway, but the lines. So I think we saw a good chunk of what we might expect. So I think the Hoffman, Hurdle, Zadina line is probably going to be your line one going into the season. And Philip Zadina, I was impressed with Zadina tonight. I know I was getting a little razz from some Detroit fans, but I think Zadina is going to have a big role on this team, playing first line with the first line forward. And I really liked him on the penalty kill. We discussed who is going to kind of jump in on this penalty kill, right? You're going to have Couture whenever Couture's back, but you have Nico Sturm, like Granlund, but you're going to have a lot of kind of people stepping into this penalty kill. And I liked Zadina's motor. He was, again, biggest grain of salt with who the Vegas was playing out there tonight, but I liked his motor on the penalty kill, and I think he's got good defensive numbers. I think Zadina's going to have both on the power play. I think in all three phases, I think they're going to give Zadina a chance to prove himself with that. And I thought Zadina was good tonight. So second line, Barabanov, Bordelot, Duclair, and I think it's going to be Barabanov, Couture, Duclair at some point, right? We've discussed at length how much Barabanov and Couture work together. And if you got Barabanov slinging passes to Anthony Duclair, like, sign me up for that. Because Duclair, like, he had a couple good chances tonight. And I think when those guys build up some chemistry, I think they're gonna do pretty well. Third line, it looks like it's probably going to be Eklund, Nico Sturm, Eklund, Granlund, and then Kunnen's been kind of playing that kind of role as well on the third line. Kunnen, dude gets penalties and he scores goals. And he provides some toughness. And I think with Eklund, Eklund might, though, my worry with that line is Eklund's going to have to kind of carry that line a little bit, which I think he can do. But Granlund, we know, is an excellent passer. Kunnen can shoot and score. And then I think Eklund's going to have to be your transition guy on that line, and maybe have to kind of drive play a little bit on that line. But maybe on the third line, you're maybe getting a little bit lesser competition. So we'll see. And again, I think lines are going to change throughout the season. I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the season, Eklund moves up into a top 6 role. Not just because guys get traded, but I think just naturally he's going to, kind of work his way up in there. And then the fourth line is probably, I think LeBank's had a pretty solid, from what we hear from training camp, I think LeBank's had a pretty solid start. I know David Quinn talked about him the other day. And then probably, Zetterlund, it's going to be kind of a mix between Zetterlund, and then and with Nico Sturm being the center on that line, and kind of how they want to mix those up with Lindblom and Giovanni Smith and some of these other guys kind of in the mix there as well. But we'll see. I do like what moving to the blue line, what David Quinn's doing by kind of partnering some of the veteran guys with some of the younger guys, right? You've had Vlasic with Shakir Mukhamadullin. I don't expect Shakir Mukhamadullin to come out and win an NHL job, but putting him in position as exceeds, right? Who on the Sharks has more experience than Vlasic? Nobody. Like, Vlasic's literally done it all. Putting Mukhamadullin with Vlasic, having a steady partner, steady hand in Vlasic. Henry Thrun, right, with Jan Ruda. I know, like, you feeling pretty good about where this is going. Again, I don't expect to see results right away, but I do like what Quinn is doing here with some of these young defensemen. So we'll see. Tomorrow's cut down day, so I wonder which of these young guys are going to be heading back. Maybe we start to see some of the junior guys go back. Maybe your Jake Furlongs and your some of those type of players start to head back to the juniors, let them go play with juniors, Cagnoni, Furlong, Hadaka. Who knows? We'll see. But I wouldn't be surprised if you start to see some of these guys, and then maybe some of the Barracuda guys starting to kind of head back as well. So, yeah, it was fun to discuss a win tonight. So I know we probably won't get a lot of them this year, but let's enjoy the one we have because it's here. Be back tomorrow where we're going to look at some of the prospects and where they're going to be playing this year. And, maybe a very early check-in on some of these guys who've been playing a couple games already. So just kind of a nice reminder of keep track of where everyone's playing. So we're going to do that on your next episode of Locked On Sharks. We also have 2 more preseason games this week, and then I'm sure we'll do some stock up, stock down as the season as we get into kind of a little bit deeper into training camp and see who's been kind of earning Quinn's trust and who's been kind of, maybe not performing as well as we'd expect. So, the Sharks won a game. Sharks 1-0. It's preseason, doesn't matter. So, all right, that'll be it. Make sure you guys are following along wherever you get podcasts. If you're on Apple and you haven't left a review, now's a perfect time to do so. As people are kind of getting back, get that nice the bump in the algorithm. So make sure you guys are following along for that. You can also, of course, watch on YouTube as well, where all the episodes come out on YouTube first. So make sure you guys are doing that. You can follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at Locked On Sharks. And you can follow me on Twitter and Threads at MyFryHole. Until tomorrow, bye, friends.